Do you have any idea?
Retainer?
As a retainer, yeah, just as a retainer. How long does a retainer last?
Like 9 months.
I would hope it's longer than 9 months. The material's rated for 2 years. But the reality is, sometimes they last a week. If you have a bad grinder, someone who's clenching on it, the material gets stressed and it breaks, right? So, assuming somebody even wears it, right? So, so you kind of have to be, you gotta be open to your retention, right? So I came upon this by mistake, right? Because I needed to find a solution where we can produce stuff faster, because I have a pretty large practice. We have 4 offices, and just so you understand a little bit about me, I'm a customer, okay? I'm not here selling stuff. This is what I really do in my world every single day, right? And 63% of what I see is adults. So I'm doing a lot of reconstructive orthodontics. I run orthodontics in the Craniofacial Center at the University of Illinois. So as a side hustle, I go to surgery 48 weeks a year. So I do a lot of orthognathic, right? So if you think about like people that are going through orthognathic, right? You have to be really careful with their occlusion afterwards, right? And if somebody's clenching or grinding, that'll throw your results off, especially if you have a bad heel. So I really started to migrate towards Nightguards, like a thin Nightguard, just to protect my patients when they're post-op. So because of the craniofacial team, I really like the idea of using, not on everybody, but I use a lot of Nightguards. Okay, so DNG is a material. It's called Direct Nightguard. Not a very fancy name, okay? DNG is a material that is a hard clear resin, which is used for producing on-the-spot Nightguards. So I have a lot of people actually fly to see me, okay? They don't necessarily live in my neighborhood, even though we have a circle of over 100 miles in the city of Chicago. We have a lot of people that will travel to see us. So I'm always of the mindset that if I can give you something that you don't expect and I can surprise you in a good way, that's a good thing, right? So if I have to, I can scan you and have the Nightguard on your teeth within about 65 minutes, which is pretty much unheard of, right? I mean, you can't even make a retainer that fast with alginate and thermoforming almost, right? But what's interesting about this is it won't break, it won't fatigue. If they take care of it, they'll probably last between 5 and 10 years. Realistically, if they break it or throw it away, it's a file, right? So you can reprint it, right? So I like that concept. So here's the thing. I think they're better than thermoformed aligners, right? I think they last longer. I'm only asking them to wear it at night. You can vary your resin. If you want to get a flex resin, you can use a flex resin. If you want to get a hard resin, you can use DNG. I can do it on the same day. It is a great source of revenue. I'm guessing that none of you go to school for free, that all of you are paying a couple of bucks for tuition, right? About 100 grand a year, something like that. About, yeah. My son, first year at Toro, right? You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I don't want to sound callous, but part of this is about business, right? You want to give a solution, right, where it actually keeps your business running. I'm going to show you how profitable this is. Not in a slimy way, in a real way, right? And you'll appreciate the fact from a business standpoint, this makes a lot of sense. From a patient standpoint, it's a great asset. So really, how do we make a Nightguard traditionally? You've never even been taught, but I'm going to show you how painful it is, okay? 3D print a model. You bury it in the beads, like in a BioStar or a Druformat. You got to blow down, you got to melt and blow down at least a 3mm disc, okay? This happens to be Combiplast, which is hard soft, okay? Brutal material, doesn't like moisture. It's got to be vacuum packed before you use it. It comes off your press as a disc, then you're going to cut it out, right? Do you guys like doing lab work? Are you really good at it?
No.
Exactly. So now you got to train somebody to do that. And by the way, the limiting factor in a practice today, if you would ask me, more than anything else, it's not money, it's not time, it's not you, it's finding dental assistants. That is the hardest asset to find right now. And it's not going to change. So we cut this disc out, we remount the case, now it doesn't fit right, then you got to box this thing out, got to add acrylic, pressure cure it, it's going to come out looking like that. This is what it looks like before we finish it, and then we go ahead and we polish it. This process takes us 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, and like a couple hours, okay? So what if I said, you can do this in 60 minutes, it's as good or better than what I was doing for the last 30 years, and by the way, if they throw it away, if the dog eats it, they leave it in a hotel in Jamaica, I don't care. It's $6 worth of resin. It's none of your time because it's already planned. And once you have a design, it's a file. It's like sticking something in the file drawer, right? It's simply brilliant. So this is the workflow. This is a modern day workflow. This is what should resonate with you guys, right? This is how your world works. You guys all do Invisalign, right? You all take your scans, put it in the cloud, design your treatment plan, it comes back. You're not critical enough yet, I say yet. You're gonna learn to change your treatment plans. When your treatment plans look good, then you're gonna accept your treatment plan. It's gonna come back. Well, that's sort of the same workflow here, right? So we're gonna do this icon by icon, right? So icon by icon. Most scanners, everyone, have you all learned how to scan yet? I'm assuming, right? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I asked, not kiddingly. Some people don't know how to scan. I'm an old guy, and I can just pick a scanner up and just do it because my brain works that way. A lot of older doctors don't scan. I'm serious, right? So what happens if you need a scan and your assistant doesn't show up? You pick up your scanner. But what does the older doctor do that doesn't scan? They reschedule their patient. This is ride or die, right? We have to get our stuff done on the day we see the patients. So any scanner, doesn't matter, produces STL. So that's the language for producing models, right? So I don't care what brand you use, it doesn't really matter. Get a clean scan. The trick is going to be making sure you get 2 bites, okay? If you only remember one thing from me, you need a right and a left side with the occlusal bites, okay? I like the idea of having things in a single place, okay? This is something called LuxCloud. This is what's coming. This is how good this company is. This company not only has the first patents in direct printed aligners and direct printed material and what we call AMP, which is active memory polymer, but this company has a full solution. Forget the fact that they've created all the equipment and they make all their own resins. But in addition to that, they actually have a full cloud solution. So if you want to do a night guard, when this launches, you'll click on night guard. You're going to spend $10 to design it. It's AI based. It'll be back in 6 minutes or less, and you go straight to your printer. That's it. So you're going to scan, design, and send it to the printer all within 15 minutes, and it's off your plate. The best part about this, I'm sure you ladies are smart, so you're going to know that you can dish this off to one of your favorite assistants. It will become kind of a fun thing for the assistants to do, right? Because it's something challenging and new to learn. It becomes like a toy for them, right? And then the challenge for them is to see how fast can you do this, and then if you really want to incentivize them, for every time you sell a night guard, you can say, okay, if we sell 3 night guards this week, everyone gets a bonus. Whatever, I'll throw it in the pot. At the end of the month, okay, whatever's in that pot gets split between the 5 of you, assuming you have 5 team members. So everyone gets a piece. You would be shocked to see what people do to sell a night guard now. Now, realistically, the production goes to you. It looks good for all of you, right? You don't go to school to learn business. You go to school to learn how to move teeth, right? The reality is, isn't that a kind of an oxymoron? Go to school, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, go buy $1 million business, and by the way, we're not going to show you how to run it. Okay, this is all practical stuff that I'm just showing you that I do on a daily basis. So that platform's still in testing, so I use something called 3Shape, okay? 3Shape is just an easy platform. They probably know more about scanning than any other company in the world because they've been doing it pretty long. With the exception of the Prime Scan, this company to me has a lot of information that they give out for free. But one of the things that's really nice about this company is they have a platform called Automate. Automate is free to use. Automate allows you to design stuff on the fly immediately. Okay, so you go to 3shape.automate.com or automate.3shape.com, and you just pick Nightguard, and we're going to walk through how to design, and you're going to see how fast this is. And I kid you not, it takes less than a minute. Okay, so this is the platform. This is what it looks like, and these are the 8 parameters that you have to fill out. Okay, so we're going to walk through these things, and I mean, you see this one time and you're an expert, right? So the first thing it's going to ask you is the most important question. How thick do you want your night guard? So if you have a bad person who's really grinding, they have a lot of zirconia crowns in the back, do you want a thin night guard or do you want a thick night guard? You need thick, exactly, because zirconia is so hard. So you can pick any thickness you want. So when I have a bad grinder, my magic thickness is 1.8. That's a proven thickness in our practice. We've yet to have somebody break it, but it's thin enough that they accept it. If someone comes back on me and they says it's just too thick, I can always make it thinner just by taking a burr on it, right? That's easy, right? If you print it at 1.4 and they break it, now you got to redesign. Now you got to add thickness to it, so it's another $10. Big deal. But you got to redo it. So you choose your thickness. Next thing is you choose your offset. You don't have to touch this. It's already preset. Easy. Blackout is going to be important for, remember I told you I'm 63% adult, right? So in my world, my patients have perio disease. They've had surgery. They have deep inner vaginations between the crowns. So you need to block out these spots, otherwise your night guard's going to fit too tight. I would say the moderate setting is enough for everybody. If you're really, really, really worried about somebody, put it on slight, you know. But moderate pretty much is my standard answer. You don't have to change the minimum wall thickness. It's set at 1.2. So what that means, do you know how thick an Invisalign aligner is? It's about 0.48. That's 3 times the thickness of an Invisalign aligner, okay? But that wall isn't going to flex. It's going to be solid. Most importantly, it's not going to chip, okay? So, but it's comfortable in a weird way. Inward retention is how tight it's going to grip the aligner. So if you're really worried that people have short teeth, you know, shorter the teeth, the worse things fit. You can increase your inward retention. So if you have a pediatric night guard you're making, someone who's on deciduous teeth and they're grinding really bad, which all kids grind obviously, you can always increase this to make it tighter or create a pallet. If you add a pallet, that would also give you retention. ID tag, you won't use it with this system, but if you use any other printer, you can put an ID tag on it and it'll literally put their name like in the middle, and then you just break it off when you process it, okay? So you have that option. I don't recommend it with this printer because when the software designs the struts, it's not going to support the ID tag, and it's going to hang as it prints, and I don't like that. The second factor that really makes a difference for you is upper or lower. Have you ever made a lower night guard? They're really nice, okay? Lower night guards make the most sense in 2 versions. One is when you're class 3, right? Because if your lower teeth are in front of the upper teeth, how do you get occlusion, right? And the second reason is if someone has TMJ. So when you want to deprogram someone who's got a sore joint, lower night guards make more sense, okay? And there's you guys can look this up, it's called a Michigan style splint. A Michigan style splint will remove the acrylic on the lower anteriors, okay? So when they go back and forth, they won't bump it. So my favorite deprogrammer is a Michigan style splint. And then our last thing is, and you don't know this, but I'm just going to tell you, is that whenever you put one of these night guards, you set it up at a 45-degree angle. It's just the way the printer works. I don't know why. Don't ask me. He's the guy who can tell you why. Why is it at a 45-degree angle?
Oh, for light?
Yeah, for anything when it prints. Why is 45 the magic?
You have 2 angles. You have 45.
Well, you have 70, but not for a night guard.
Oh, night guard.
Yeah.
Oh, it's we actually mapped the accuracy at every 5-degree angle interval from like 20 degrees to like 90.
So that's the most accurate.
It's actually so it's 1 in 45.
All right, whatever it is, it's preset. The software automatically does it. You don't have to choose.
53 degrees.
53 degrees, that's it?
Highest accuracy.
Okay, there's your answer. It's 53 degrees. Remember that, it's a good statistic. Okay, most important thing. How fast do you need your night guard? Do you need it in 10 minutes or 10 hours? It's extra a couple dollars. I mean, it's not much. It's the same software, it's the same design. One will spit it out in under 10 minutes, the other one spits it out in usually a couple hours. It's usually not 8 or 10. So that's it. Once everything's good, you filled out your form. That literally will take you less than 60 seconds. Okay? So then you go to wherever you have your scans. Like, let's say this is what your scans look like. You're going to take these four pieces, and you want to put them into kind of a yellow folder on your desktop. You know what I mean? And then you're going to send it into a zip file. Once it's zipped, okay, so here's the zip file version of it. Now you're going to take this and you're going to drag it to the Automate platform. You just drag it to this gray area right here. And literally, you'll watch it upload and it'll say designing now. Again, this entire process will take you 1 minute. And that's what it looks like when it's finished. So when it comes back in a few minutes, this is what the results side look like, right? We have new designs ready for you to evaluate. When you go to evaluate it, it's going to open in 3D. It's kind of cool, okay? You can see the thickness, you can see an occlusal map. You can take a brushing tool and make your contacts heavier or looser depending on what you're looking for. My goal is just to make every tooth touch, right? I mean, that's really what a night guard's supposed to do. I don't want to see a lot of topography. I want it as flat as can be so that they don't get caught. You, as a doctor, can decide if you need more or less contour here. I tend to cut mine a little shorter. Again, it's a lot easier. These will kick out with more material than you need. I like my night guards to be straight across, okay? When we were in dental school, we had a saying about lab work: if it glows, it goes, you know what I mean? If it's shiny, people accept it. So the one thing you want to do, make it shiny, make it pretty, right? Make the edges straight. Don't make it look ugly. If it looks pretty, even if it fits poorly, they're going to accept it. Your job is to make sure it doesn't fit poorly. So it's going to go here into something called LuxCreo. So that was our design, right? We planned it in a minute. It came back in 6. LuxCreo is the piece of software that runs this equipment. You guys have seen this a little bit or not yet? Because you guys are all newbies on the printer, right? But this is the same piece of software that prints an aligner, it prints a night guard, and it prints a model. It's the same thing. I think this is a... Ethan, how do we make the video play? Do we have to touch the computer? Hang on. Well, I'll see if... No. Do you know how to make it play? There should be a video in there. Okay, so you can see you're going to watch me load this up in real time. So I've got my night guard right here. This is what we're building, right? We're building a night guard. Single line versus double line is just how it's held to the build plate. So this is the automated software you're going to use. Choose that. Find your file. And then once you find your file, it's going to auto load. There's nothing for you to do once you hit confirm. This is why you're going to like the printer, because it's easy. Right? You don't have to be an expert to understand all this. And it'll take about a minute to load. And that's it. That's your night guard right there. That's what it looks like. When you get it out of the printer, You're going to snap this piece off. What's really nice about this is they come out pre-polished. Not a lot of work to do if you don't like doing your lab work. That's why you're going to like this. If you use any other printing system, you're going to have all these supports. It's going to be very nubby, you know what I mean? So you're going to have to polish the entire thing, run it through pumice, run it through whiting or whatever you're going to use in order to polish it and make it look glossy. So you're going to put 10 minutes of polishing in versus like a minute on this. So now I'm going to show you why you really want to understand this. I'm going to show you how much money you make. I don't want to sound crass, but this is part of the business. If your time to scan is 15 minutes, you have to pay your dental assistant. Let's say her time was worth $7. You got to upload it to the cloud, so I'm paying an employee to drag it up to the cloud. That's at 5 minutes, it's $2. Our cloud design is anywhere between $8.50 and $10. So once it's approved, we're going to put it on the printer. Takes a couple of minutes. You're going to have about $5 in resin. You're going to print it and you're going to polish it. So this is a big number. It doesn't really cost $45. It's almost worth taking a photograph of this. Yeah, I would tell you to take a picture of this because this is going to make sense to you one day. So here's what I'm telling you. Your personal time, your personal investment costs $45 to make the night guard. Okay? If you sell the night guard for $550, we sell ours for $800. Wow, exactly. Now I have your attention. You're going to have a $505 profit for every night guard you make. So if you average, by the way, on Thursday I did 7 night guards. No joke. So if you average $500 per night guard you make, right? You're going to find out how profitable this is. Now, I'm going to round up and say the bottle of DNG costs $400. It's actually $385, assuming the price doesn't go up. At $400, you can make, out of one bottle, you can make about 80 night guards, okay? So if you were charging $550, 80 night guards comes out to $40,400 of income. This is the second photograph you want to take.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So at $40,000 per bottle, you have about 45 times 80 is about $3,200. You have, roughly speaking, $36,000 of profit for every bottle of resin you buy. If the system costs $20,000, that means in one bottle of night guard resin, you can almost pay for the system twice. Our system was paid for in under 60 days. Legit. This is a real story. So what I'm telling you is, this is just one thing that the printer does, right? Your job is to be efficient. They don't teach you the business side of this in school. You kind of have to figure it out the hard way. But this is the truthful story that, you know, this is what we came to the realization of, is that it's a better retainer for our patients' teeth. We actually make more money on this, and it's faster to make because we don't have to do the whole print the model, put it on the press, blow down a piece of plastic for $4, cut out the excess, throw the model away, fill up a landfill. There's a lot of reasons why this makes a lot of sense. It's just the best trick that we've ever learned in the last year. So, thank you for your attention. Yeah?
So you market it as a alternative to a retainer, or how do you market it?
I'm not marketing it as a retainer alternative. I'm saying it is a retainer, period. So, okay, so if somebody's fresh out of braces, right, they have to be retained during the day. At least in my practice they do, right? Because I don't believe that there's some magic bullet I can give them to lock their teeth in place. But once they kind of get past the 6-month or 12-month mark and they're really only at bedtime, I want them to wear the night guard, right? If I know they're a tough person, they're clenching, they're grinding, I want them wearing the night guard almost the first month out of braces, okay? Sometimes it takes us a little while. How do you know if someone's a good grinder? When they start perforating the tips on their aligners. If you see that, it's an automatic night guard. You show it to the patient, and then you tell the patient, okay, this is just my selling tactic, you can do your own. But I say, you know, your contract included one retainer, so you've now ruined it. So you got to buy another retainer. It's $385. But if you buy a night guard at $550 or $800, I said, I'll give you another retainer at no charge, because I will. And I said, and you're going to wear the night guard at bedtime. Every time that's accepted. And it just makes a lot of sense. And if you think someone's going to suck at wearing their night guard, which is, that's the reality, right? You don't have to use DNG. You can use another resin. So they make a bunch of resins that all work with the system. All the Keystone, like Keystone Soft is a flexible night guard resin, which means when you put it in warm water, it's not amp, it's memory, oh my god, I'm forgetting the term, but basically when you put Keystone Soft in hot water, the night guard will get soft and rubbery, get soft. So it's kind of like an interesting cheat, right? So what you can do is, if you think someone's teeth are moving, you have your original scan, tell them you put that thing in scalding water, soften it up, put it on your teeth, take your Advil and go to bed. And in the morning their teeth are going to be straighter. Because that's the reality of how this stuff works. It's shape memory resin. Thank you. God, I couldn't think of it. So there's shape memory resin and there's something called active memory polymer. AMP, active memory polymer, is what we use for 3D printed aligners, which you're going to learn because you guys all have this system at Howard, right? Shape memory resin has been around for a while, and it's a good hack, right? It's really good for people who clench. It's really good for people who are inconsistently wearing their night guard. Really clever.